Hey, what's up? This is Peng from LabVIEW by Example, and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to introduce you to clusters in LabVIEW. So, if you were given a series of numbers to remember, how do you think you'd do? Could you repeat 10, 7, or even 15? How about names of people you've been just introduced at that party? Research has shown that the average person can only remember 3 to 4 things at once, and you probably already had a hunch about that. So, given this fact, how do you think humans ever found anything with all the stuff and ideas we've collected all through our lives? The answer? Grouping. We can categorize our music collection by genre, place every piece of clothing in a dedicated drawer, and separate cups and dishes in our cabinets in the kitchen. So grouping helps our small memory limited human brains find things in life. So when you're dealing with code, you'll have to work with a lot of variables, numbers, and other coding constructs that could number in the hundreds, thousands, even millions. So that's a lot of mental juggling. So instead of keeping track of all these pieces, you can group them to keep track. So grouping high-level programming languages are pretty universal. You can organize by file, group these files into folders, put things in packages or libraries, create classes, keep related data local to individual pieces of your code, such as a function. So in LabVIEW, using a cluster is one solution to the data overload problem. Clusters group data elements of mixed types. They can be thought of as baskets where similar related items are collected and acted upon. So if you're coming from a text-based programming language, a cluster is very similar to a record or a struct. Like arrays, clusters are similar, but the difference is that the cluster has a fixed size where an array can vary in size, and a cluster can contain different data types, but an array can only contain one data type. All right, so let's jump into LabVIEW. Let's take a look at an example of building a cluster on the block diagram. So say I need to create an application to allow someone to search for services for an upcoming vacation. So who doesn't love the beach? All right, so most likely they'll need to search for a flight and hotel. So in this VI, I have placed down the typical items someone would see if they wanted to look for a flight and hotel. So just looking at the block diagram, you get an idea of all the stuff and data that you're going to have to keep track of. So if you're not careful, you'll end up with a bunch of wires and all these terminals just all over your code. Okay. So I've already built up some code to handle the buttons for searching the flight, and searching the hotel, and then the stop button as well. Okay. I'm using an event structure inside of a while loop, and I have another video talking about this if you're not familiar with how this works. So let me go ahead and move the appropriate controls into the search flights function. Okay. To bundle elements into a cluster, use the bundle function, which is found under cluster bundle. Okay. So all you do is start wiring things in to the input terminals, and you can increase the size of this cluster function by pulling on these handles here, and it'll give you more input terminals. Let's wire that up. Okay, and there you go. So I've wired all the control values. So then this single cluster can be used in your code to do whatever you need, or even pass to a sub VI, which I created, that will take this cluster as an input. So there you go. Then sub VI can go off and search in the database, for example. Okay. So let's do the same thing for the hotel search here, and bundle all these guys up. Okay, and then I had a sub VI that searched the hotel, taking this cluster as an input. All right. So say on the flight search, we want to make sure that the departure and the arrival time are not the same. So for this demo, let's check the values of that cluster. So to unbundle values, what you can do is use the unbundle function. Okay, and when you do that, it gives you all the terminals that are on this cluster wire. Okay, so here let's check the departure and destination values. Okay, so if they are, if they're equal, let's output a error. And make this case false, and let's pop up a dialog saying okay, let's resize it so that we can see that once. Okay, so we can run this guy, and let's put NYC, grab NYC. Okay, good. All right, so this is good, but one of the downsides of using this unbundle function are that all the terminals are exposed. So as you can see, I've not wired anything to these other terminals. So this is really just a waste of value block diagram space, and readability takes a hit too. So because you don't really know what these are until you kind of hover over it. So in this case, 99% of the time when I program, I prefer to use the unbundle name function. So that can be found under the cluster cluster palette, and you can use unbundle by name. Okay, and when you use this, it gives you specific elements by name, and you can resize that and it'll give you that. So if you want to change any of these, you can select the ones you want. So in this case, let's do it this way, and we can just wire that to that. Run search, that's error. Let's go to LAX. no error when I hit search flights. All right. So this is a little bit more readable. Okay, so let's assume that the system blows up when you try to search for more than 10 rooms, okay, in the hotel. So to prevent this, let's check if the rooms element is more than 10, and if so, set it to 10. So we can use the unbundle by name for the rooms element. Let's do unbundle by name for the rooms element. Okay. So we're going to check it for greater than 10. Oops, greater than 10. Okay. And if it's greater than 10, I want to correct it. Well, clamp it at 10. So it's greater than 10. Let's clamp it to 10. And then if it's less than 10, if it's false, then let's take that guy. So it's false, we're going to pass this out. And if it's true, let's pass 10 out. Okay. So one thing you can use is the bundle function again. Well, not again. I haven't introduced this yet. So that's how you pass values back to the wire. So if you use this bundle function, and if you wire to this central terminal, it'll give you all the elements of that cluster. So what you have to do is, in order to take the result of whatever you wire in, you have to take this output and wire this back out to your function, right? So here you can take this guy and return it to the rooms. Okay. So as you can see, the bundle function has the same kind of issues as the unbundle function. Okay, so again, I always prefer using the bundle by name. Okay, so let's take that bundle by name, and let's go ahead and delete this guy. And so here I can just choose rooms, okay, and just wire that in. All right, good. All right, so as you can see, everything looks a little bit more organized now. You don't have to worry about all these various wires going all over the place. So there's one more nice thing that you can do. So you don't have to bundle individual controls and indicators just on the block diagram. So on the front panel, you can put them in a cluster as well, which might be the best situation for you. So let's do that. Let's create a cluster. Smooth this down a little bit. Put down cluster. So a cluster is found under array matrix and cluster. Take the cluster element or control, and let's make this a little bit bigger. And what you can do is just take whatever controls you want and drag it into your cluster. Okay. So the cluster is so I can resize this guy so I can see all the elements. Okay. So now what you've done is on the front diagram, you put these as elements inside this cluster. And now you just have one wire or one terminal for the cluster. And You don't have to bundle that anymore, but you can use the functions that you were using before the exact same way. And I can run this search. Okay, let's try to go from LAX to LAX. Error. Okay. All right, so that should be good for now. Congrats. You now kind of know how to bundle and unbundle elements to and from a cluster. So use clusters to give you that next level of organization in your code, and you'll be on your way to LabVIEW mastery. Please, if you like this video, add likes or comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. If you need more LabVIEW how-to articles, go to LabVIEWbyexample.com, and remember, you too can be LabVIEW awesome. Thanks for watching. Until next time.